Hey guys, DB Rye here, and today I thought it'd be a good idea to do a bit of a skate video today. And this is for the beginner, the person who's just picked up his skateboard, he's starting to learn how to push and ride around, and this is also for the beginner adult skater. Because after all, it is important that new skaters take their safety under consideration and really start at the very beginning. And this is a ritual that even me 3 years later still do today. It's a good way for me to basically warm up, and also it's a good way of a fun way of inspecting your board and making sure everything is all good with your board. Now, every time you go skating, you should get in a habit of checking your trucks, making sure they're either tight enough or loose enough, or whatever your preference is, whatever you're comfortable with. And I noticed this the other day when I was filming my beginner tricks video, that my trucks were actually slightly loose. And well, it occurred to me that I've been a little slack with my little warm-up ritual, so I thought, yeah, I would demonstrate that today for you guys. So, now, this is something I believe every skater should do, whether you've been doing it for 10, 20 years, or whether you've just picked up your skateboard today as well. Especially if you're buying a complete skateboard. Now, what a complete skateboard is, it's one that you don't put together. It's one you get at the skate shop and the board's already put together, like the ones you get at City Beach or Kmart or something like that. Well, you can actually get complete skateboards from proper legit skating companies like Globe as well, and Braille. So it's important to always check and inspect your board. So what I like to do, I do the beginner playbook step by step. So first, I'll start getting on and stepping up on my board like this. And right now, actually feels pretty comfortable. I actually tightened these just before because I knew they were loose. Do that and stepping off. And if you're a beginner and you picked up your board for the first day, you're not sure where to start with riding your board, I actually recommend the first thing you guys learn is how to get on your board and step on it. Now, how I like to do it, I like to put my front foot on first. My front foot's on the front bolts. Then I just step up with the other leg, also on the bolts. And then, of course, learn how to step down. And just do that a bunch of times till you feel pretty comfortable with it. And more importantly, if you're regular, learning to step off like that, which is actually a method of stopping. One thing quickly that I want to quickly add while we're here, and sorry I forgot to do this while I was recording the video, is the step when figuring out which foot you are, whether you're regular footed or goofy footed. Now, if you're regular footed, that means your left leg is the front leg, and your right leg is the back leg and pushing leg. And of course, vice versa if you're goofy. So that will mean your right leg's the front leg, and your left leg would be the back leg and pushing leg. And the best way I find to determine that is basically if you're going to slide on the floor, which leg would you lead with? Would you lead with the left? Would you lead with the right? If you lead with your left, then you're regular footed. If your answer is you'd lead with your right, then probably better off being riding goofy. Going from there, a quick step off like that is actually a method of stopping, and in my opinion, actually the easiest way of stopping. Before I learned how to tail stop, and I was just cruising around, that is how I stopped. I would just, okay, let's skate around. I'd see some obstacle I wasn't ready for, or a car suddenly getting ready to pull out in front of me or whatever. I'd be able to just step up and grab the board and get out of the way. So it's important knowing how to get on your board, how to get off, and how to bail. So yeah, that's the term I wanted. How to bail off your board safely. So practice those at first things you should do. Then from there, you can start doing little hippie jumps and doing that. 'Cause sometimes you might want to bail in a hurry and you have to hop off like that. Very important. And it's a good way to start getting comfortable with your balance on your skateboard and start developing a bit of comfort. So certainly not a bad idea. And of course, it's a good way to find out whether your board's in sync and whatnot. So if I feel like that's too loose, I'll tighten up my trucks. Alright, so from there, you'd obviously start learning how to push. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to cruise around in here because, well, this is a sort of thin carpet material. I don't know, I might be able to push a little bit, give you guys an idea of how to push. Now, personally, I think the way you push your board's up to you. Like, some people push like this, push regular, or if you're right, push goofy. But other people, sometimes beginners, have a habit of pushing Mongo, which I'm not going to lie, I do that sometimes, especially when I'm just cruising around the streets going to A to B, but I will teach you the proper way. So I only like to push regular when I'm setting up for a trick, when I'm trying to ollie while rolling and do things like that. But this is how you do it. Your left foot's over there. I like to have mine just sort of just behind the bolts, and when I push with your right leg. Now the idea when you push is, get that out of the way, is when you push, you want to sort of bring your leg up at the same time and you roll. Now obviously I'm not rolling very good because like I said I'm on carpet, but that's the basic idea. And well, so yeah, and after that you can just start off with one, doing little pushes like that, and then you could go ahead, get comfortable with that, then you can maybe do bigger pushes, and then doing pushes, getting on, pushing again, and then going to 1, 2, doing 2 pushes, getting on, so on and so forth. Alright, and then after you do that, you want to start learning how to turn your board, which 2 ways to do it. I recommend learning both, and for good reasons, which I'll get into later, is of course the carve turn. Now all you do basically is using your legs and your body, is that you slightly push the board like that. Now the way I'm pushing here will make me turn right, and if I go back like that, push my legs like that, I'll end up going left. And when you get really comfortable and you start going down hills and stuff, you'll actually be able to go left and hang your body out a little bit. The same when you go right. Anyway, that's a bit of practice. And that's probably the most fun way to turn carve turning. However, it's actually important you learn how to kick turn as well. Now kick turn, it's more or less one of the first tricks you learn skating. Well, it actually should be the first trick you learn skateboarding. Now, to me, a kick turn is considered a basic trick. I don't know if it is in the eyes of other skaters, but to me it is. So, basically what you do, you put a bit of your weight on your back foot, and you want to lift your front leg and just sort of turn like that. And it's actually important in my book to learn both these methods of turning. And why is that? Because sometimes you can't carve turn away from obstacles, especially obstacles that you see or spot at the last second. The kick turn sort of helps with that. So say I'm on the road and I'm going ahead, I'm pushing, I'm cruising, and suddenly there's a really big pothole that I didn't see coming right away. Now, if I try and carve turn that, I'm probably going to go into it, fall, and hurt myself. However, if I know how to kick turn, and I see it, I can easily just shift out of course like that and keep going. That's why a kick turn is important to learn. I see a lot of, especially adult beginner skaters who cruise around, they carve turn all the time, but it's clear they don't know how to kick turn properly. And I've actually seen them go into obstacles like that and end up, falling and possibly hurting themselves. So it's important to know how to carve turn, which is this, putting your weight into the side of the board, making a turn, in this case going right, going left, and how to kick turn. Which actually leads to another beginner trick later on, the tic-tac. Alright, now, another thing you beginners should start learning, and this can actually take time to sort of develop and get comfortable with, and that is how to do a tail stop. It took me ages to get comfortable with this, and I find certain skaters do it slightly differently, and it depends who you are. Like, I tried learning it, simply doing it this way. Now, while I could do it stationary, no problem like that, whenever I would move and I would try the stop, I had this bad habit is once the stop happened, my front foot would slide off the board like that. I would not have really good balance to it, and I'd also feel dodgy with my foot on the board like that. And well, this way works for me when I do it while moving, that overcomes that problem, is that I actually have my foot more or less sort of hanging over the back where my heel is. See where my heel is? My foot's more or less turned like that. So when I cruise and I stop, my foot actually catches the board, sort of helps slow down the board because my foot sort of makes contact with the ground first, and then, I don't know, for some reason, I'm just able to hold my balance when I do tail stops like this when I move, as opposed to the other way I was just showing you. It's a Ryan thing. But I know other skaters prefer doing tail stops this way too. And I think it's overall easier because of this, and your foot's a bit more on the ground, you're a bit more comfortable, and this way you're not feeling like so out of balance that you got to put your front leg off to I had the word to make up for it. So I prefer this way. Anyway, experiment with that, find out which way is actually more comfortable for you. And let's see, so my advice from this point is basically just get really comfortable with doing that, because after you start being able to cruise around, do your kick turns and your tail stops, that is when you're going to probably want to be starting on learning how to ollie and doing things like that. And I do recommend you start learning some beginner tricks, like how to go primo, doing rail stands, and some basic beginner footwork tricks to really develop your balance and comfort on your board, while of course you're still working on your ollies as well, because you'll help develop more comfort and balance on your board, which is going to overall help your ollies out, especially once you get to the point where you're ready to start doing them while rolling. And I'll be back with some beginner trick ideas you guys can start working on right away. So thank you guys for actually joining in. I hope this has been helpful, especially to your new skaters who have just picked up their board yesterday, or your 30-year-old adults like myself who are just now getting into skating. So there's just a few things you can practice, and don't forget to do those drills every day. Getting on your board, getting off your board, getting really super comfortable with it, and using that opportunity to also inspect your board and make sure that your board's ready to go and that it's safe to go. After all, safety is very important. Now, excuse me, just 1 second. That's better. Nice. Yeah, I had to test out my ollie there because, like I said yesterday, these trucks were feeling really loose on me, which is why I did this video. And yeah, that's going to actually happen to you guys. It's actually important you do inspect your board before a session and you learn how to tighten up your trucks, which gives me my last tip. If you're going to get a skateboard, make sure you guys buy yourselves a skate tool so you can tighten up your trucks if they feel too loose. Because eventually when you start doing pop tricks like ollies and things like that, even learning cavemans and things like that, eventually your kingpin is going to loosen, and that's going to automatically loosen your trucks, so you've got to know how to retighten them again. And it's going to happen. Do one more for good measure. Oh, that rocketed. Alright, again, thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back again with the trick tip video that I shot yesterday.